Good evening, everyone, and welcome to all of you as we call to order what is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Jenks City Council. Today is Tuesday, December 6th of 2022. The time is 6 p.m. and we are going to ask Mr. Macy to verify our attendance.
Isabel?
Present.
Murray? Here. Klein? Present. Short?
Here.
Boucher? Caitlin?
Here.
Mayor Box?
Here, thank you very much. The Vice Mayor is on a trip to the East Coast. All right, tonight's invocation, we welcome back Pastor Buddy. Where are you at, my friend? How are you? Please come forward and lead us to the Lord in prayer. Still from Battle Creek, by the way.
Still there. That's right. Thank you. An honor to be here. God, we lift up this meeting for the purposes that we've been gathered. Thank you for everyone in this room who is willing to give time, energy, effort, and even sacrifice away from family and other things because they care about Jenks and the city and the people. So we ask for your blessing, ask for your wisdom and guidance in everything that is discussed, everything that is decided. And I pray that we will continue to value you and people all along the way in everything that we do and decide. So bless this city council and everyone else. We pray and we ask in the name and the power of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Pastor, before you go, since you've been a good and faithful servant to us so far,
Yes.
why don't you just give us a rundown of your Christmas services?
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Christmas Eve. We know it's on the 24th, really, but on Thursday at 6, on Friday at 6, and then on Saturday, really Christmas Eve at 2 and 4. So we've got 4 services that we're offering. Excited to have tons of people coming in.
Candlelight?
Now, it'll happen. You know it'll happen. Yes, there'll be candlelight.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Pastor.
Thank you for having me. Thank you all.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So hang on to that one.
Tonight's animal welfare spotlight, it looks like Mr. Reed is on the way forward. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening.
What you got for us
I'd
tonight?
like to introduce Sunny,
End of your special.
and you may have seen Sunny and several of her friends in the Christmas parade. Sunny is a little girl about 1 to 2 years old, probably closer to 1. She is extremely friendly. She loves to play with people and other dogs. She likes to ride in cars. And if you get tired, all you got to do is put her in front of a sprinkler and she will entertain herself for hours on end. She's spayed and has all her vaccinations, is heartworm negative, and is ready for a home for the holidays. So if there's anybody watching that is interested in meeting Sunny or any of our adoptable animals, call us at 918-299-6311 or email at animalcontrol@jenksok.org.
All right. Thank you very much, my friend. 299-6311. Appreciate
Yes.
you. What is she?
Oh, sorry.
Other than
She's an English Shepherd mix.
English Shepherd mix. You might want to add decline or filing them down before anybody, not taking them off, but just reducing them a little bit. So we don't need new pews in this.
Well, that's when you take her for a walk.
Okay, good enough. Thank you, Mr. Reed. Good luck to you, sir. Good luck, Sonny. All right, thank you. We are moving on to citizens' comments or public comments, as we like to say. If anyone is here tonight that would like to speak on behalf of something that is not on tonight's agenda, you are welcome to come forward. There's only one face here I don't recognize, so I don't, any takers? All right, very well. Moving on to official business, item number 1 is the consideration and appropriate action relating to a request for approval of tonight's consent agenda. Unless somebody would like to pull something from the agenda, we can entertain a motion to approve it all.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull item D and item E for brief discussion. Otherwise, I would like to consider approving item 1 with the exception of D and E.
Okay, so we will pull item D and E, so if someone would like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exceptions of D and E, I would appreciate it.
Motion to do that with the exception of D and E being pulled to discuss.
Second.
Very well, thank you. We have a proper motion and a second on the consent agenda. Vote please.
Isabel,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Short,
Yes.
Kalen,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes, item D is item number 2, we will go back and review D, which is the approval of resolution 783, acknowledging the city's meeting and holiday schedule for the 2023 calendar year. What is your question, Councilor Isbell?
I just want to make note that April 4th, 2023 is a city council meeting, and that is also the election day for councils 1, 2, and 5. And I was wondering if we could adjust that date, or,
We definitely need to do that.
yeah, with everything scheduled with planning commission, et cetera, during that week.
No planning commission.
No planning commission? Could we move city council meeting to Wednesday? Or would that be appropriate after the election? I'm not sure how it's been handled in the past.
I think that we could strike, if you want to strike this, we could strike it, or we could cancel it leading up to the election, but maybe we could just strike it from this calendar and then have a special meeting when we know everyone's schedule, when we're closer to the date. So strike it from this, but then we'll have a special meeting if we need to.
Okay, I'm agreeable with that. That's a good idea. Thank you very much.
Very, very
And
well.
that's all I had for item D.
All right, item E is,
So do we want a motion to?
yeah, do we,
I'd like to make a motion to approve item D with striking the April 4th council meeting.
Second.
very well, we have,
And the Jinx Public Works
Yeah.
Authority meeting.
Oh, and excuse me, yes, thank you, and the Jenks Public Works Authority meeting.
we get another second on that.
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a proper motion and a second on item D, so please.
Isabel,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Short,
Yes.
Kalen,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes, item E, approved change order number 3 for the aquarium parking lot expansion project by AC Owens Construction. Mr. Isbell.
First of all, I'd like to say I approve of these changes and paying for these changes because they are necessary. Second, I want to acknowledge the fact that the aquarium's 20th anniversary will be in April of 2023. And with respect to that grand opening and the original parking lot put in, we missed a couple of items with respect to the electrical under the pavement, as well as the concrete not being thick enough in one area. I'm in approval of both those items being taken care of. That's not an issue. What I want is a warm fuzzy, a good feeling that we are providing proper inspections at this time so that we won't run into any other types issues similar to this in the next 5 to 8 to 10 years. So are we monitoring and inspecting the construction of the parking lot adequately? I say this with one caveat, the fact that I don't know what the inspections were 20 years ago, or whether that was allowed at that time, not to have a junction box for the electrical, things like that. And I'm gonna admit my ignorance in the code 20 years ago, but I just wanna make sure that we feel good that we're doing everything we can at this time.
We are. One of the things, discovering the electrical conduit right beneath the pavement, that wasn't put in correctly, and I'm in the same boat you are, wasn't around and not sure who was here to inspect that kind of thing at that time.
And just to be clear, that was probably put in when the thing was done originally.
Right.
Yeah.
Over 20 years ago.
And that's definitely not proper. So it was found by accident, meaning it's not where they found it where it shouldn't have been. It should have been below the subgrade of the pavement at least. And then as far as the sidewalk goes, that should have been more of a design consideration, being the close proximity to where dumpsters would be traveling and would be going over that section of sidewalk. That should have been caught in the design review phase. And so the engineer nor city staff caught that, and it should have been. So, but as far as the inspection during construction, we are doing that. We are catching things and making sure things are put in according to plans as much as possible.
Okay.
Did that Give you enough fuzzy?
Yeah, he does, he does. I just wanted to make sure because, I don't know if anybody who was around 21 years ago when the parking lot was originally put in, any hands? No. So, like I said, I don't know the codes then, I don't know the proper procedure then, and I just want to make sure that we're doing right by the citizens going forward. So thank you for your explanation.
Yeah, I agree, Counselor, still with your warm fuzzy on that, but was the issue with I guess the sidewalk, you say it was too close and the trucks were going over it?
It wasn't designed thick enough in that one area, in that area around where trucks would be going in. So if you can kind of picture the entrance, it's in front of the aquarium. It's kind of to the south of the main entrance. There's an area where trucks drive in to access the dumpster. And so the sidewalk leading into the opening for that on either side, those sections there, those were designed to be the traditional 4 to 6 inches, where they should have been something over probably 4 inches thick. That should have been more like 6 to 7 inches thick, knowing that on those end sections where trucks make that turning radius to get in there, and it wasn't.
Okay, so it wouldn't be incumbent on the trucking company to offset some of the costs of that because they were driving, but
They were doing what they were usually doing.
okay, no, that's fine. I just, thinking, when I first saw that, I thought, well, maybe they drove over it, it's their fault, but if it was a design issue, then yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. Mr. Isbell, if you are happy with item E on the consent agenda, change order number 3, entertain a motion, please, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to approve item E in the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. We have a proper motion and a second on item E of number 1. Let's vote, please.
Isbell,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Short,
Yes.
Kalen,
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes, thank you. Moving on to item 3. Purchase of public safety vehicles, 2 Chevy Tahoes for the fire department and 4 Chevy Tahoes for the police department. Approve the financial agreements between Bank First and Jenks Public Works Authority and approve resolution 785. A resolution amending the annual appropriations by $26,000 in account number 123115396, also known as the City Uniform Patrol Capital Fund for Motor Vehicles, and by $14,000 in account number 144115396, known as the City Fire Suppression Capital Fund for Motor Vehicles, for the fiscal year ending June 30th of 2023, to fund the debt service for the remaining 6 months of the 2022-2023 fiscal year. And we welcome either Chief Jackson or Chief Oster. We are on page 110 in this packet if you'd like to follow along. Good evening, Chief. How are you?
Excellent, thank you, Mayor, members of council, you have information here for you. I can definitely speak to the fire side as far as the need for the vehicles. Recently, we had our 1996 Ford F-550 with a brush truck for us that was put in the city auction, and that was sold due to a blown motor. And then we also, at that point, moved our 2007 Ford F-350 that was being used as a command vehicle into a brush truck roll to fill that role. And then with the hiring of the fire marshal, it leaves us 2 vehicles short for command vehicles. This is our request to purchase 2 Chevy Tahoes and with outfitting at the state bid pricing.
Very well, thank you. Any questions for Chief Ostrom as it relates to fire vehicles? Council, any questions on my right? Questions on the left? Mr. Murray?
Is this a state package that the vehicles are coming through?
Yes, the vehicles themselves will be a state bid pricing, and then the outfitting is also at state bid pricing, which is a 5% discount from all accessories that are put on the vehicle.
So the Chevys are all going to be a police Tahoe package, so you'll have the capability of going in a pursuit?
No, with our version, we're getting as a 4-wheel drive version, so it's not the Pursuit, the high-powered pursuit vehicle. It's actually, it keeps the same wheel package on it, so it has a better stopping ability, but without the extra power for the police on the fire side with 4-wheel drive.
Okay, I was going to come ride with you if you're going to go pursuiting, but I just checking, so thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Murray. Any questions for Mr. Shroud as it relates to police vehicles?
I might just add that we were going to include these items as a part of the, I guess, what do we call this, lease program that we had thought we were working on with Enterprise, and then we just kind of realized that it wasn't as good a deal as we thought because it was prime plus 2%, I believe. And so we just thought we could get basically a better deal with Bank First going ahead and purchasing these vehicles.
Well, I would concur. I think this is a good transaction.
You have a question, sir?
Yeah, I do. With respect to the police vehicles, there is a quote on page 122, and it's dated 7/8 of 2022, and it states that the quotes are good for 30 days. I'm just wondering if we anticipated any supply chain issues causing that quote to increase.
Well, they're not, I don't think the vehicles are available right now anyways, and I don't think they were available at the time, so they'll be delivered in the summer of 2023.
And this is specific to the upgrades for the lights, I believe, lights and sirens.
Right, so the police department had solicited 3 quotes from Vance, Joe Cooper, and Carter. They were not available, or they're not in stock. So they contacted their GM, or they contacted General Motors, and he pointed them to a dealership in Texas. And putting the numbers together, the kind of matrix that they put together on a per vehicle basis is still cheaper to go to the Texas dealership and not under state bid. If you include the vehicle and the equipment, and with it being less than the state bid, it's in line with our city code. So we asked our city attorney if they're able to purchase them. So those vehicles in Texas are in stock for immediate delivery.
What my question is the fact that the quote here is for the upgrades, the lights and sirens at $14,200. So is that applicable or not, since we weren't able to get them here?
So it's factored into the total cost for those 3 dealerships here in Texas, or those 3 options here in Oklahoma. But
Since we went to Texas, this page is null and void.
right.
Okay, that answers my
That was
question.
just kind of a show that
Yeah.
we did, or that they looked at other options, were solicited other bids, even though they may be a little bit, a couple months old.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that this quote did or did not apply, and it does not, since we did not purchase them from the local.
Right, so the one from Texas, it's the vehicle and the equipment that is necessary, so it's the $14,000 under the Oklahoma quote, or $8,662 with the Texas dealership.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Salceda? Any questions from Mr. Stroud on the police vehicles? Very well. Thank you very much. If there's no other questions on item number 3, we can entertain a motion for approval.
Make a motion that we approve item 3 for the purchase of the public safety vehicles for the police and fire.
Second?
Thank you, gentlemen. We have a proper motion and second to approve item 3. Let's go, please.
Isabel?
Yes.
Murray? Yes.
Klein?
Yes. Short?
Yes.
Kaylin?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, sir. Item number 4 is ordinance number 1602, relating to planning case right-of-way UEC utility easement closure 22-83, closing a utility easement located in the Elm Street Center plat. General location being the 700 block of West 101st Place. We are on page 149. Care to follow? Good evening, Mrs. Hilton.
Good evening, Mayor Box, council, and staff. This is a right-of-way closure, as you mentioned. Part of it is right-of-way and utility easement. The plat has been filed, and it was filed with the understanding that this would be closed and vacated by separate instrument. They have it here this evening. It takes a 30-day notice with our technical advisory committee, and those are our utility companies. They have been noticed since October 27th. Any issues that were brought forward have been resolved. Staff and TAC and Planning Commission recommend closure and ultimate vacation of the utility easement and right-of-way.
Great, thank you, Mrs. Hilton. Any questions from Mrs. Hilton? All right, let's have a motion, please. Item number 4.
Motion to approve item 4.
Second.
Thank you. We have a proper motion second to approve item 4, ordinance number 1602. Let's go, please.
Isabel?
Yes.
Murray? Yes. Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
Kaylin?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, item 5 is the emergency clause for ordinance number 1602.
Motion to approve emergency clause.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second on the emergency clause item 5, so please.
Isabel?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
Kaylin? Mayor Box?
Yes, thank you. Item 6 is potential executive session for purposes of conferring on matters pertaining to economic development, including a transfer of property or the creation of a proposal to entice a business to locate within the city of Jenks where public disclosure of the matter discussed would interfere with the development of products or services or would violate the confidentiality of the business. Talk about the Riverfront Tourist Commercial District at the Aquarium Campus. And if you're so inclined, please entertain a motion for entrance into executive session.
Motion to enter executive session.
Second?
Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Can we vote, please?
Isabel?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
Kaylin?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, thank you for your patience. We will be back. Okay, City Council has returned from executive session at 7:06 PM. For cast. Moving on to other business, item number 1 is our city manager report. Mr. Stroud.
Mayor and all members of council, some updates on some of our capital improvement projects. On Main Street, PSO has begun their utility relocation work on the project from Dade to the railroad. On First Street, the contractor has striped the street. The Fox Run pavement repair, a pre-work meeting with Magnum Construction will be held tomorrow. And Magnum will begin construction on December 19th. The traffic signal upgrade, the pre-work meeting for this project will be held soon, and construction date for that is also December 19th. Staff has awarded a contract for the design of the Elm Street sidewalk from B Street to Cave Place to Tulsa Engineering and Planning. This project was identified in the Vision Extension Sales Tax approved by voters in 2016. Regarding the potential for a new TIF on the Aquarium Campus River District and land south of Polecat Creek, east and west of Elm Street. We continue to meet with developers and Jenks Public Schools to discuss amending the boundaries of TIF 1 and eliminating TIF 2 in order to create the new TIF. And we hope to have a TIF committee meeting before the holidays. We are statutorily obligated to have at least 2, and then the recommendation would go to the Planning Commission, which would then make a recommendation to the City Council. The Riverfront Trail from Turkey Mountain to 106th Street. We are having a kickoff meeting with INCOG, I believe, on Thursday. And this is again the raised grant of $16 million that the City of Tulsa and Jenks received. Federal funding to build new sections of trail and improve existing sections. The Low Water Dam project, the deadline for the third-party funding is December 31st of this year, so obviously we're very close to that deadline. And City of Tulsa, City of Jenks, Muskogee Creek Nation, INCOG, Tulsa County all continue discussions about how to get this third-party funding for the endowment for the dam. We're hoping that the Muskogee Creek Nation will hold a special meeting within the next week or 2 to discuss the potential funding. So we continue to work on it. I don't know if the mayor has any.
I'll add it in my report.
Yeah. The firefighter graduation ceremony, we had 4 firefighters graduate and become actual firefighters this, I guess 2 weeks ago, Monday, November 21st. I'd like to thank Councilor Murray for attending that event. That was the first graduation event that they've held. I think it's something that the chief is hoping to do with all new classes moving forward. Upcoming events, we have the annual all-employee luncheon, holiday luncheon at the Oklahoma Aquarium. That's next Tuesday, December 13th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We hope to see you all there. And then Christmas break, City Hall will be closed Friday, December 23rd through Monday, December 26th. And then again for the New Year's holiday, it's on a Sunday, so we're gonna have City Hall, it will be closed on Monday, January 2nd. We had a good turnout for the aquarium logo unveiling last week. Got a lot of good press on that. The Lieutenant Governor attended, and I think that the foundation is planning for an event, a fundraising event, to bring potential donors to the aquarium in January or February the lieutenant governor will be hosting that event, so we'll send you meeting invites when we know the exact details of that. And then again, High Five announced that their intentions to come to Jenks. It got good local press, and so I think there's quite a bit of excitement right now about the development going on in the community. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Mr. Trout? Okay, very well. Any council, any committee reports, any other business you want to talk about? Am I right? Nobody? Am I? Very well. As Mr. Shrout suggested, the Low Water Dam discussion is occupying a lot of my time. The Muskogee Nation's Attorney General has reviewed a memorandum of understanding that was drafted by the city staff at Tulsa, and if that MOU gets approved and voted on by an emergency meeting of their national council in the next week, then theoretically that will relieve the city of Tulsa of their burden of their December 31st deadline. I went to the Tulsa City Council swearing in ceremony the other day or yesterday and met all three of their new councilors and some of the existing ones, and had a conversation with their city attorney about the December 31st deadline. And so they are all aware, and all of the new city councilors are on board for the potential vote to extend that deadline should it become legally available to do so. So there's some internal debate as to whether or not they can legally even vote to extend that deadline. As Chris suggested, the chief and second chief of the Muskogee Nation are back in town from a trip to DC, and we expect that emergency meeting for their council will be very soon. The chief suggested if you guys are available, he would love to see every elected leader in Tulsa County come down and fill the room and show their support. Because this is critical. This is the largest monetary project, I think, in quite a long time that benefits all of Tulsa County. So I will let you guys know when and if that meeting gets scheduled. So keep your fingers crossed, pray, whatever it is you do, that we get to move that forward. Smaller business, Mr. Isbell has been our primary alternate for the INCOG. By default, am I the chair or something? I'm the primary representative to INCOG. Mr. Shrout and Mr. Isbell are the primary alternates. But Gary has done a fantastic job. I think he has a 100% attendance record, although that might be a little bit harder now that he doesn't go downtown all the time.
I like that all the time in the world now.
Good. But Gary has, at least to me, declared his desire to continue to serve the city of Jenks. He will be throwing his hat in the ring to continue that service in the second quarter of next year, and I'm pretty confident that I think he has done a great job. He took the reins from Councilor Summers, and I don't think anybody has as much enthusiasm to attend these INCOG meetings as Gary does. So I took the liberty of suggesting and asking him to continue his service, and he has gracefully said yes. So he will continue to be our Johnny on the spot for INCOG, and I might actually join you next week.
Do we need a motion to approve that?
No.
A motion for that?
The mayor's made a motion.
Okay.
The mayor seconded, the mayor voted, and Gary is the guy. That's kind of it for me. I would suggest you guys, we have one more meeting for the remainder of the year. We should probably consider the committee work that we do. If you guys have a desire to do something else, not perform in the capacity that you'd like, then I would ask that you email or text me what it is that you want to do. We are not pigeonholed by these committees that I made up last year when I took this chair. If there's something we're missing, if there's a gap, then I invite you to fill it, and we can talk about how we do that. And like I said too, with if there's anything on your wish list that you want the city staff to consider, we have just 6.5 months to the new fiscal year, whether it's Christmas lights on Main Street or frosties on everyone's roof, whatever the case may be, or goals and ideas and things to consider for the new calendar year coming up, then don't hesitate to send your emails to Mr. Strout and Marce and everybody in the room. They can know exactly what's on your Christmas list, okay? Sound fair? That's what you want, right? Christmas list for next year? All right. And if there's nothing else, going once, going twice.
Motion to adjourn.
We don't need a motion anymore. We are adjourned at 7:18 PM.
Again, the motion.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you broke it.
Fix the gavel?
You broke it.
I saw you're extremely well, you're not on the agenda, but we can put you on the agenda.
We have the.
Is she on the agenda? Are you on the agenda?
Yeah, it's on the,
I didn't mean to.
I know, Brandon told me.
it's on the next one.
Okay, good, we'll get to you. I realized how much effort you put into this, and then I realized you're still sitting there. Sorry. These glasses, I can't see far enough to know that you're on the next one. All right, give me a moment, get caught up. Meetings are too quiet, we need to do more controversial things.
No,
Grief.
no.
All right, let's go ahead and call to order tonight's Jenks Public Works Authority meeting, please.
Isabel,
Present.
Murray,
Here.
Klein,
Present.
Short,
Here.
Ogier, Kaylin, Chair Box.
Here, record reflecting. Vice Mayor Ogier is absent. Item number 1, general business, consideration of appropriate action of tonight's consent agenda. If anyone would like to make a motion?
Motion to approve the item number 1.
Second.
Thank you all. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Item 1, let's go please.
Isabel,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Short,
Yes.
Kaylin, Chair Box.
Yes, thank you. Item 2 will pull. Mr. Stroud, anything additional on your general manager's report?
No, sir.
Thank you. And we welcome for the very first time our new chamber president. Give us our first monthly chamber report. Good
Yeah,
evening.
I'm sorry to get these to you earlier, I actually just finished it today. But thank you, council and mayor. If you want to look at the little packets that I gave you, I'm going to share a few things. I'll have Lane share a few things as well. These are just updates over the last 33 days. That's how long I've been in this role, so. Okay, day 1 for me was Trick or Treat Main Street. So we had more vendors than we've ever had. We had 34 vendors, and that's hats off to Brittany. She did a really good job growing that, and we had more trick-or-treaters than ever. So we approximate around 2,000 trick-or-treaters, and then all of their parents and families as well. So that was a great turnout. And then lights on, we also had more vendors than ever, and we knew that Travis Meyer, our friend, would be there, of course, but we were surprised and excited to see that. Also, Fox 23 and News Channel 8 were out for that event. So great event, and Mayor Box did a great job with his interview. A couple of highlighted special events is Women in Business Giving Luncheon, benefiting the Dress for Success nonprofit happened in November, as well as the monthly luncheon with Commissioner Karen Keith. And then, of course, the aquarium ribbon cutting for the carousel, which everybody enjoyed. And the Veterans Memorial for the Unknown Soldier, which was a beautiful event with the chamber, of course, the foundation, and the city. All right, some community collaboration. I've met with so far Riverwalk. We're meeting with the city. We've already met with the aquarium, Jenks Public Schools Foundation, and Melody Lane, all of their event coordinators, to create a master city calendar of major events. And the purpose of this is to promote and support events throughout Jenks and not compete for the same participants, vendors, food trucks, and entertainment on the same day. And so we're excited about this. Because, for example, this year, Splash and the Jenks Public Schools Foundation banquet, both of their banquets are on the same day and at the same time. And so people will have to kind of make decisions or pop back and forth. But both of them have been super excited to collaborate next year so that won't happen. Even if they're a day apart, it makes all the difference for elected officials like yourselves to be able to attend both events if you like. So that's exciting. We'll have that coming out in January. For all just the major events. We won't have every small event on the calendar, of course. And then strategic partnerships. We've started reaching out and we've gained some new chamber members from Tulsa Hills because all of our Jenks people shop there. We figure we might as well be strategic about including them in our chamber membership. Chamber staff joined with the city staff. This was, I believe, Councilor Klein's initiative to go downtown, and actually it was so wonderful. Say yes, and Lane and Katie and I had a great deal of fun. I brought Christmas hats and antlers to share. And so we had a good time meeting everyone. They were really excited to see the city and reading all of them together and thankful for your cards. So thank you for signing those cards for them. It meant a lot.
Any pictures of the antlers and hats?
We do have pictures, yeah. They're like, oh, yeah, sorry, you got me and I have a musical background, so. Okay, internal chamber updates with external outcomes. I know you don't want to know all of the internal updates, so I did not give you all of them, but a fun one is that we added texting capability. And so now we can do reminders when you come to the next luncheon. You'll see you can scan a QR code and opt in to get reminder text. So that way, if you want to ever come to ribbon cuttings or know when the next event is, of course, those emails will still go out, but a lot of people aren't great at reading all of those reminder emails, and so a text sometimes is going to be helpful. So we're excited about that. We think it's a small investment for hopefully a good return. And then, of course, we've already gone over our new sponsorship opportunities. Our guide is updated and ready for 2023. Lane is working, he'll talk to you a little bit more about Discover Jenks for 2023. And then 2023 programming, we're working on that right now. A new fun thing, and I'm super thankful for the aquarium because they are being one of these sponsors, is that we're gonna have a Women in Business Leadership one-day conference this year for the first time ever. Yay. You guys were not very enthusiastic. Yay!
Everyone invited.
I know. Tourism, we had an initiative about like get married in jeans, and we decided to expand that to spotlighting our event venues like Spain Ranch, Five Oaks, The Lark, ARA Live, Cheers My Dears, and there's an airport venue. Did you guys know that? There's a venue at the airport. Anyway, kind of. Okay, film-friendly program. So now Lane is up.
Hey, and by the way, if you want, we could get ordained. So if people think it'd be cool for like,
If they want
Craig.
Brandon to
Craig.
marry them. That's
Who
great.
wouldn't want Rodney administering that? I hereby declare by the power
Might
of
have some
Yeah.
more fun news.
State of Oklahoma.
Ward 4 of Jenks.
Thank you, Heather, and I appreciate having a few minutes to talk with you all. You may remember a while back I talked about the film-friendly initiative, so I'm happy to say today that we have completed the film-friendly certification for Jenks. So you may have seen that in the news recently. Thank you, Katie, for sharing that information once we did. The News 8 and News 23 picked that up. So it's a fun process. It was a lot of fun to work on. A few notes about that. It's going to be great for our economy, local economy. Whenever those production crews come in, that's a big boom for our economy with them spending dollars here, whether that's hotels or eating out, those kind of needs. So we're hoping that we can be open to getting some film crews in soon for whether it's a TV show, which would be a longer duration, or if it's a movie. So hoping we can get some directors to be interested in that. So part of that process, just kind of walk through a few things, and a thanks to our city attorney, who is no longer here, but we really appreciate Teresa for taking time to help us with the film permit. She did a great job. We gave her a template and she knocked it out of the park. So thank you, Teresa, even though you're not here. But we also we have 10 locations right now. We're going to continue to grow that for the database. We can include information, photography. We actually hired a professional photographer to supplement what we already had, which I think was good. We wanted to do it right. We want to represent our great locations that we have at our disposal. And so we're going to continue to grow that as we get some additional venues and places. Heather and I are the designated film liaisons for the city. So with that film permit and our locations that are available, interested directors can look at a place, and if they're interested, they will contact us, and then we'll coordinate between the film permit and the city to make sure we can accommodate any needs that they may have. So with that being said, Mayor, I know that you've said before that Jenks is open for business. Hopefully we're open for film and TV. So we're looking forward to having some submissions in the near future.
You guys know Jason Burks from Retrospect Films?
I don't think so.
He's the co-owner of Climb Tulsa. And he's also, they are the largest, certain kind of film studio in the whole state, right?
Mhm.
And it's right in Broken Arrow.
Okay.
So we'll get you guys connected. I think you would love Jason. He's climbs things and shoots amazing since he was in high school. Anybody, you guys know him? He's like a local legend, right? Nobody?
Okay, yeah, we need to meet him.
Yeah, he's well, if we can progress with getting him to locate his business here, we'll get you guys introduced. He's a young guy that just everything he's in front of the camera is pretty remarkable. He's got a TV show. He filmed the first year of his marriage, and it's on Yahoo TV. And it's he and his wife drove across most of the United States to climb. The bucket list was to climb every mountain over 14,000 feet. And they kind of joke was that they could survive the first year of marriage doing that. What could they not survive? And it's only the third episode's already out, and they're already winning awards. So
Sounds great.
pretty neat guy. So we'll get you introduced at some point next time we do business with him. So.
Please do.
Yeah.
So one other final piece of news on that, I don't want to scoop you, Heather, but there's a man by the name of Cody Mayo, and he is opening up a acting studio in Heather's Anthem Road live space. So
Ours or Bixby's?
Ours.
So he
Of
is,
course.
I believe is the only one in the state who is offering the service, but he is an actor, has been in several TV shows, but he will be coaching kids ages 10 to 17. And preparing them to enter the film industry. So pretty cool deal. They'll be offering those classes, I believe, at night. So that's another neat tidbit that we could share about Jenks, that we have, the only offering of that in the state. Very cool. The last thing I wanted to mention on the tourism front is, as Heather mentioned, we're working on our Discover Jenks magazine for annual tourism. So I enjoy working on that each year. So we're putting together the content for that. It's just a great resource for new residents. We put that in the new resident bags for everybody who signs up through the water department. And then we distribute that all throughout the city. So looking forward to working on that more. Any questions for me before I turn it back over to Heather?
Well, you said the word scoop, and I want to share this with you guys. I leaked that film certification story before you did. And the only reason I did is because I saw it on a news break and just assumed the world knew. So if you don't want me doing that, and you know something's coming, let us all know, so we're not Facebooking this to death, because it makes more sense for the message to be consistent. I wait for the city and you guys to draft your content, and then it's easier for us to share some nice mixed message. So I won't do that if you guys will give us some pre-notice that something's coming.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That was a rare miscue, I think, from them, because they shared before they said they were going to. So
Yeah, I mean.
hopefully next time we can get that,
Yeah.
our ducks in a row.
I mean, we like to do Facebook things because it makes us look like we're doing our job, but if we're down in front of you, let us know.
Well, we appreciate the support. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Lane. Yeah, super fun. All right, next up is the economic development connections so far that we've made in the last month. And so the first one is just a fun one. I went and spoke at the leadership conference at OSU Spears School of Business. And so I went ahead and turned that into an ED trip, and we visited a popular restaurant, which I won't put on the record right now because we're in conversations, but popular restaurant there that has 6 concepts that are successful right now in their opening. They have Stillwater, they have Oklahoma City, they have Edmond, and so we're looking, they're looking in the Tulsa region. We're trying to encourage them to come look at Jenks to open one here. And then I met with PSO, the Economic Development Manager, Garrett Wright, to get connected with the retail tracking software that they have available, and then the Commerce Project Portal that they also have available to support our retail recruitment efforts, as well as registering our chamber staff for their ED crash course. So they have a crash course that they provide for free, PSO does, and then if you go through that, they have some courses that you can take offsite, and then if you go through that, they'll actually pay for you to go through OU and economic development courses. So we're going to start that process. And then our meeting is actually set for this morning, but he was sick, the Muscogee Creek Nation, their director of tourism, and then an initiative that I want to focus on, one of the things I want to focus on for workforce development is building really strong relationships with our higher education institutions. And you talked about NCOG today. I went to that strategic planning meeting and I loved it. And but one of the initiatives was to build really strong relationships with our higher ed institutions, so that when we have communication with prospective businesses and they say, well, what about workforce development? What pathways do you have? What course plans do you have? That we're not just trying to search an internet site to see what we have available, but we actually have people that we can bring to the table who can bring a credible voice and maybe even offer customized classwork that would help bring those people to our state, to our city. And so I've already reached out and we already have great connections with OSU. I'll meet with Kathy Taylor at TU next week. Already got a plan from ORU. And then I'm meeting with OU Tulsa next week and TCC. And we've already met and have Tulsa Tech. So those are really great relationships that we'll continue to build upon. And then just got introduced to, so we're just starting communication with Amy and Jennifer from Oklahoma Commerce. And then, of course, the NCOG thing happened today, which I loved. I didn't know what all they did until today. And so it was really interesting. So I may have to bend your ear a little bit, Gary. Yeah, and yeah, I love it. And then you all probably got some information from Brian about some of the businesses that he has been speaking to about Jenks. And so we're meeting next week to make some plans to pursue those relationships. And then we have a prospective Asian restaurant that's looking and actually wants to be on Jenks Main Street, like a boba tea and things like that. And so we've connected them with one of our building owners here on Main Street to see if it's a good fit. And then I'll be meeting with Commissioner Karen Keith and the new Tulsa Tourism Director, Renee, Councilor Short, and I'll be meeting with them in the next couple of weeks. And then we have priorities. I looked over the economic development job description and the contract that we have with the city. And these were some highlighted priorities that I wanted to focus on at the beginning. So if you look at these, elevate Jenks to be updated because some of that data needs to be updated. It's outdated. And then tracking connections with our prospective businesses and then making sure that we're following up. I think sometimes what happened in the VRE visits before is that there was data taken, but then not necessarily, I don't know what was done with the data. And so I think it's finding out, okay, we have this data, what are we going to do with the data that we collect from these business expansion and retention efforts. So kind of getting more, I guess, some tangible deliverables about what we're going to do with the data. And then engaging with collaborative regional initiatives within COG, and then investing in the Jenks-centric marketing campaigns. I'll have to learn from you all how much we've done with that. I don't know how much has been invested in Jenks-specific marketing campaigns for trying to get prospective businesses interested in us. I think the 10 is helping because I was talking with a group of like 20-somethings the other day, and one of them brought up the 10, and I had not talked to them about it. So that means because Freefall is doing that marketing for the city of Jenks, they're doing that marketing, and so like a 25-year-old was telling somebody else about how we're the 10 district. So I was like, okay, it's already getting out there. So I think being really strategic about our marketing initiatives matters, just to get that interest in Jenks. And then designing and deploying a business retention and expansion program that connects businesses with the resources they need. Again, that speaks to not just collecting data, but then taking the data and figuring out how do we connect those businesses, whatever data that we get from them. Is it workforce that they're struggling with? Is it professional development opportunities and resources? What is it that they need? And then how can we connect them to those resources? And then providing fundamental business development education resources, creating pathways for workforce development, working with the city to design and prepare incentive proposals so that people know what incentive packages are available. You guys have already done a really great job with that. Our say was instrumental with that for our business. And so just spreading the word to small businesses. A lot of small businesses think that the incentive programs are only for big businesses. And so I think it's a great educational hurdle for us to cross to share, like, no, you don't have to be a huge corporation to qualify for some of these facade incentives, for example, things like that. And then we want to host prospective business meetings and gatherings at the Hive, and host Take a Look at Jenks tours for prospective businesses. You guys can look, I'll finish this. You all know about the Elevating Excellence Initiative because I've spoken with all of you about it. Got some fun things that we want to do. I started this little quote at the top just says, we don't attract who we want, we attract who we are. Attracting excellence requires displaying excellence. And as Apple says it, people do judge a book by its cover. We may have the best product, the highest quality, the most useful software, etc. But if we present them in a slipshod manner, they will be perceived as slipshod. If we present them in a creative manner, we will impute, and I put what that means, represent or ascribe the desired qualities. And so I really think that we as a city, we as the chamber want to lead by example and say, like, follow our lead. You know, this, yes, buildings require maintenance. Yes, it requires a little bit of an investment on our part, but then we get to be really proud of where we bring people and where we work every single day. And that way, when we go to small businesses or big businesses, whether we're prospecting businesses to come into Jenks, or we're speaking to our current businesses and asking them to elevate and invest in their buildings or in their business, that we can do so from a place of integrity because we've done that first. And so a few things that I wrote on the list so that we can do this. It's a partnership because we need each other and we definitely needed the city's help, and it's exciting because there's already forward momentum. So the first thing was fix the roof at the Hive, and Tanner's not here, but I just have to say Tanner has been awesome. So thank you for giving him the authority to start that work. So he's already gotten 2 quotes on the roof, and so we're just working on what's going to be the best solution. And then ceiling repairs, I talked to, thank you, Chris, we talked to Greg Helms, and he's got 3 bids out right now from 3 different contractors to see, and he called it pricing out a retrofit ceiling system. I had him tell me what that was, but anyway, I was like, just make it look better, you know, anyway. So he's got 3 bids out, so we should be hearing from them by the end of the year, hopefully, as far as just getting bids. And then fixing plumbing, another big shout out. Plumbing's, I guess, at the men's bathroom has been an issue for a long time. And fun news, again, Tanner's not here to receive all his glory, but they had to take out the urinal and replace it because it was installed wrong, and so it was like holding pee. I don't know if you're allowed to say that in council meeting, but there you have it. And then,
We just don't.
and then, but then after they did that, they did figure out that there's some problems under the building and the piping that is separating. And if it wasn't taken care of, then that could back up into the building, which would be super gross. And I do not want to be in there when that happens. Anyway, but the good news is Tanner found it, and they're working with Public Works to figure out when we can find a solution for that. So that's
Sounds like we
exciting.
need to tear back the building now.
We might need to. But for now, we don't want poop to go into the building. So now, my first council meeting, yes, I've said both of those words. Okay. Okay, the next thing is we want to pay, and we already have a contributor. I think you can get some others from the chamber. This is not something we're asking the city for, but for an impact and influence piece, we have 2 artists right now who are going to give us a sketch and give us a quote. They're both local artists, they're both chamber members. One is already displayed, Christopher Westfall is displayed a lot of places here in the city, but also in the Hive right now. He's the resident artist, and then Josh Stout is the other one. They're both going to give us some renderings of ideas what we could do. And it will be a nod to the history of Jenks with a view upon the horizon for what's to come. And so they both have some really cool ideas, so we'll see what the little sketches come up with. Because we want that impact piece as soon as you walk in the chamber, we want it to be something that everybody who walks in wants to take a picture with, they want to tag Jenks, and it's something that all of us can be proud of when we bring visitors into the Jenks Hive. And then the backdrop, that is just a thing that right now it looks kind of temporary. And I know these things may seem silly or they may seem little, but again, think about that impression that you want to make if you take someone, if you're bringing a prospective business like High Five here for dinner or something like that, or you want to show them Jenks, you want to show them where we meet, where we host all of our elected officials, or where we host all of our luncheons and our in our gatherings, we want to be proud of that space and not feel like it's a temporary thrown together place, but we want to be proud of it. And so things just like the background so that we can have screens on the side. I've had some people who struggle to see the projector. And so we actually have Woodland West who's willing to donate the screens as long as the walls are capable of holding them. And so they said they'll get the biggest screens that Sam's has or whatever, and so that we can do that. And so there's just some little things that, some of these things are internal things, but they have external outcomes and rewards should we execute them well. Okay, and an improved sound system. Yay, we got a new sound system. Are you guys so excited? If you were at the veterans event, you are so excited that we got a sound system because Corey had to yell the whole time. And so I'm thrilled to have a sound system. Did you guys know that sweet Josh Driscoll he was plugging in the sound system to his car and running the car the whole time of an outdoor event? Did you guys know that? Well, he was plugged into the cigarette lighter of his car. And I was like, I don't think I want to do that. So anyway, the fun thing about this sound system that we have is it has a 6-hour battery life when it's not, you can also plug in normally. That for outdoor events, you can use it for that. For smaller community events like groundbreakings, the Christmas parade, where people borrow our sound system a lot for all these events, we will let them borrow our past sound system, not our new city one. Because when you're carting it in and out of the elements, like into dirty ground where there's a groundbreaking or wet, humid air, it's like really bad for the sound system. So anyway, we'll keep this one for nice city events and for the things that we host in the Hive, and then we'll have the old one that's not always awesome for things that maybe are not as vital. So, okay. Then we just did small things like linens for the tables. We got linens for the tables and servingware and some table scapes and things like this. Public Works put in a sprinkler system. Yay! We're super excited because that means now when we have landscaping in the spring, it won't all die. So that's really exciting. And then we're looking just at a few other things. One of the things that I'd like to do is get a podium that has a removable logo. So when we do city events, we can put, have a magnetic logo that looks nice. It looks like a plaque, like a grass or something. But that way it goes on the podium, looks really nice, and it can say the city of Jenks. And then if we do chamber events, we can have a Jenks chamber one that's on it, instead of the sticker that's always the Jenks chamber. For example, we did a groundbreaking a couple weeks ago. It was not a chamber event, but they borrowed our podium. And so it looked like it was a chamber event on all of the pictures and everything, which is fine, I guess, but maybe that's not always appropriate. So those are just little things. That's your little update from 33 days here in this role. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. I may or may not have the answer at this point, but thank you guys so much for letting me share.
Thank you, Heather. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, thank you. And the last thing I wanted to say that's on the calendar as a reminder is a week from tonight at 6 o'clock at the Hive it's an open house event from roughly 6 to 7:30. It's and a local. It's an open house panel discussion on the dangers of opioids, specifically fentanyl. I think Broken Arrow, Tulsa took the lead on doing something like this a couple years ago. Broken Arrow did their own. And there's a local Jenks resident who's a mental health practitioner who kind of spearheaded this effort in Tulsa. She asked if we could do it here. So this is totally open house. So I posted about it and the city posted about it a week or so ago. But you'll see a big blue logo if you guys can share it. We don't often think that fentanyl is a problem maybe here in Jenks, but it's now is the #1 cause of death in the United States from people 18 to 45. I think it's bigger than suicide. So it's a big deal. We don't hear about it much, but Broken Arrow does. And so we'll have, I think Chief Ostrom and I think both chiefs will be there to kind of give their perspective. I don't know that they're panel members, but they'll give their perspective as what it means in the public safety community. But let your friends and residents know that this is wide open. They can just come and go as they please, and it's a public service that we're offering to kind of spread the word on this growing epidemic, if you will. So,
Chief Jackson's been sick for like a week, so I don't know if he'll be able to.
Oh, all right.
Maybe I can send somebody else.
yeah, okay. We should be better. He's
I'll
been,
ask Major Brown. I'll see Major Brown.
yeah.
Is there any way to send this out to parents in the school system?
We've shared it with the school system. Rob Labor has it to spread through Peach Jar, so.
Yeah, but please share it with anybody you want. I mean, obviously, we have no idea how many people show, but, I think it's good on us to say, we're making an effort to expose our residents to something like this, so we'll see how well it goes over. But that's it for me. Anything last minute, last call? Going once? Counselor Murray?
Just asking Katie a reminder that this Saturday is a car seat check, so making sure. Thank you.
Oh, at Station 2?
Mhm.
What time?
From 10 to 12, but I will be working the OU Arkansas game, so I can't be there. But just as a reminder.
All right, very well. Thank y'all very much. 7:47, we are